I'm Laurie Cardoza-Moore, and this is Focus on Israel. With the rise of anti-Semitism and anti-American forces, how could peace be possible in the Middle East? At the PJTN Media Summit, a panel of top national and international leaders and media professionals discussed the changes we can and must make to preserve our values and beliefs for the next generation. It is imperative that Christians understand the strategies needed to win the media wars in this complex digital age. Hello, I'm Laurie Cardoza-Moore, and thank you for joining me today on Focus on Israel. In 2005, I founded Proclaiming Justice to the Nations to stop the silence, to wake up Christians and people of conscience to the realities of a world bent on destroying Israel and the Jewish people. From the start, PJTN has had a proven track record of fighting for the rights of Israel and the Jewish people. A record of standing firm in the face of overwhelming odds against a world of Jew and Israel hatred. A record of not compromising on the very plan of God. The mission of this series and PJTN is to educate and equip you so that you can gain knowledge that you can share with family and friends. We'll present information you'll not see in the mainstream media. Each year, PJTN hosts several events at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention, the world's largest gathering of Christian broadcast and media professionals. One event that helps inform the Christian broadcasters is our annual PJTN Press Briefing and Media Summit. On our program today, you'll hear from 4 of the 8 experts on the illustrious panel at our event. In the second part of this 2-part series, you'll get to hear our other 4 panelists. So please don't miss our next show. Our first panelist is Dr. Sandra Alfonsi. Dr. Sandra Alfonsi is recognized as an international expert on the propaganda that is presented to America's children in the educational system. She presently serves as a senior fellow of Proclaiming Justice to the Nations. Dr. Alfonsi addresses the topic of medieval Christian anti-Semitism in the Spanish and Portuguese Inquisitions.
If we are oblivious to this, we are oblivious to the level of the anti-Semitism as it grows in the United States, the danger from it, because there would have been no Inquisition without the Christian anti-Semitism, which we will go into. But all of the steps, all of the vocabulary, all of the caricatures of what it meant and what it means to be a Jew, what is wrong with us as Jews, how we do not fit into society, all of the imagery, all of the vocabulary, and the stereotypes are from day to day growing, and they are inside of our churches, they are inside of the media. But what I'm saying is, yes, I do believe that which we saw at the time of the Inquisition, we are seeing it again today. What we see now in the anti-Semitism is not the medieval Christian anti-Semitism, which never went away. It was covered over. It has been made palatable, and now by the combination of the medieval Christian anti-Semitism and Islamist anti-Semitism, there is a free-for-all in Jewish blood. And that is what I see, and I do believe that. What I see in our textbooks, what I've been doing over the past 20 to 25 years on our textbooks, comes to a culmination today, I like to say, inside the textbooks produced by Pearson Publishers. There is a parallel, and what we're looking at as Judaism as a world religion, what we're looking at the falsification of the history of the state of Israel, what we're looking at the elimination of the contributions of the Jewish people to American history. This, what we see in the textbooks, is not a trickle down from the college campus. This started in K through 12, 6th through 12th grade. It started in 1975 with the first billions of dollars put in by Saudi Arabia into our education system here. And this is what you find the result in our textbooks. What we find in the textbooks today, we find actually there is the bias and slant on the Jews. If we study what is going on and we take the word globalization, this started in 1975 slowly with the impact of Saudi Arabian money. And that was to completely rewrite the history, to draw the division between America, the politics, the State Department, and through education to sever the relationship between the United States and the State of Israel. And that has come to pass. But if you remove from education the presence of the Jews, you remove from our education system how the Jews and the Christians in our country have interacted. Yes, over the years there have been anti-Semitism, there's been problems, but the textbooks now have removed, and it isn't that they made a typographical error. They have removed the unification, the unity between the Jews and the Christians. But what the textbooks have done, and it is also part of the ancient, the medieval, the Christian anti-Semitism. They have brought the separation, a separation that was created with blood. And never forget, there was Jewish blood lost during the Civil Rights Movement. There was the second president of the NAACP was a Jew for 10 years. There was Jewish money, all of that, but there were 3 civil rights workers killed in Mississippi, college students, 1 black, James Chaney, and 2 Jewish college students who died side by side. Those 3 died side by side fighting for the civil rights. Now, if you look at our textbooks, that is what is being eradicated. It is the globalization, and if you talk about globalization, there is one globalization, and this is what all of this is leading to. And when it's the globalization of Islam as the world religion, Pearson removed Judaism as a world religion. It was always Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, chronological order, and Pearson removed, we are no longer a world religion. We are in a category called others.
Yes.
But never forget, on the chopping block, you take off the Jews, you remove them out of the civilization, you remove them out of the textbooks, and you take them out of society. And then the next up on that line, and this should be a warning signal to you, the next up on the line are the Christians. And Pearson is brilliant in its evil. I mean, it's exquisite.
I want to take you to Israel in pictures and film. I want you to see how God's sovereign hand can be seen before our eyes right here in this land. That's why PJTN is offering a special anniversary package that includes a captivating new book and award-winning DVD. Israel Rising is a unique visual story of Israel's miraculous journey from unforgiving desert to thriving nation. Thousands of years ago, the prophet Ezekiel foretold a future time in which the arid land of Israel would come alive for its people. Now this breathtaking book documents the fulfillment of this vision, as rarely seen photographs from the 1880s to the 1940s are juxtaposed with recent photos of the same locations. This book will inspire and captivate you as it illuminates Israel's foretold awakening in a new and unforgettable way. In addition, you'll receive the award-winning documentary, Israel Indivisible, The Case for the Ancient Homeland. This inspiring film examines the many political twists and turns that make Israel the world's most controversial nation. From Abraham and the Promise to the issues facing the Jewish state today, the film examines the historical, archaeological, legal, and biblical foundations for the modern state of Israel. This is a limited time offer for these two remarkable resources for just a one-time gift of $70 today. Your generous donation will help ensure that PJTN stays on the front lines and in the headlines of all the important issues facing Israel and our Jewish brethren. So please go to pjtn.org today. From studying history, it's very clear that what starts with the Jews never ends only with the Jews. We must strongly stand against any anti-Semitic trends, for if not stopped, they'll cause harm to all of us, and we'll witness the downfall of our Judeo-Christian Western culture. Today, many people say there's no longer a need for a Jewish state, that Jews around the world no longer need a place of refuge. But anyone who has heard recent statistics about the worldwide rise in anti-Semitism would never make such a claim. The reality is that neo-Nazi groups and Nazi sympathizers are increasing around the world. Surveys show that over 1 billion people in the world harbor anti-Semitic attitudes. Close to 50% believe that Jews have too much power in the business world, and 2/3 of the world's population has never heard of the Holocaust or believe the historic accounts of it are inaccurate. Don't let yourself be manipulated by evil people with a wicked agenda. When the self-serving villains are in control, good people from all religions suffer. Muslims, Christians, and all people of conscience should stand proudly and show respect for a country that gives so much to the world in so many ways. Do your part, do your research, and do what you can to make a difference. Because what happens in Israel does affect us all. This is not just a Jewish or just an Israeli problem. This is a problem for all humanity, for each and every one of us who believe in freedom and human rights. Learn more about what you can do at pjtn.org. Our next two speakers include Dr. Andrew Bostom and Dr. Carol Swain. Dr. Andrew Bostom is the author of several highly acclaimed books, including The Legacy of Jihad, Islamic Holy War, and the Fate of Non-Muslims, and The Legacy of Islamic Anti-Semitism, From Sacred Text to Solemn History. Dr. Bostom has had frequent articles posted in such national publications as the New York Times, the American Thinker, National Review Online, and the Washington Times. On our panel, he discussed Islamic anti-Semitism today and its doctrinal and historical roots. Dr. Carol Swain is the Pulitzer Prize-nominated author of The New White Nationalism in America. She is a former university professor in political science and law at Princeton and Vanderbilt universities. She is also nationally known as a political commentator on Fox, ABC Headline News, CNN, BBC Radio, and others. Dr. Swain addressed the classic anti-Semitism in academia and how it is influencing a new generation of violence against Jews today.
Islamic law, Sharia, per Quran 929, mandates waging jihad war to submit Jews and Christians to humiliating status of religious discrimination and legal inequality if they do not accept the true faith, i.e. Islam. But Islam also singles the Jews out uniquely for opprobrium, as is evident in the 7th verse of the Quran's first chapter called the Fatiha, or opening, which pious Muslims repeat 17 times daily. This verse refers to those who have incurred Allah's anger, and both the tradition of Islam's prophet Muhammad himself and over 13 centuries of authoritative Quranic commentaries till now maintain this reference is to the Jews. Why have they engendered Allah's anger? Here is a 1940 summary rationale by the great scholar of Islam's anti-Jewish polemic Moshe Perlman from a chapter entitled Jews in the Quran and Traditions. The Jews transgressed Allah's commandments and flouted the prophets and even slew them, that's Quran 381. Therefore, many punishments fell upon them, that's Quran 261. For example, some of them were turned into apes for desecrating the Sabbath, Quran 265, 7166, Quran 560 claims apes and pigs. The believers, Muslims, will find that they, the Jews, are their fiercest enemies. That's Quran 582. Therefore, after they had rejected many friendly overtures, that's Quran 259 and 581, it was decided that they must be fought against, made tributaries, and compelled to pay the poll tax as a mark of their humiliation. Again, Quran 929. In the traditions of Muhammad, they did not shrink from plotting, practicing sorcery, and poisoning, including Muhammad himself, until they were finally crushed and driven out of Arabia. The Jews extended their hatred of the Prophet to all Muslims. They became, in a way, the incarnation of evil. No wonder that when the world comes to an end, and when Dajjal, the Muslim Antichrist equivalent, threatens to destroy those of the true faith, the Jews will be betrayed in their hiding places, even by the crying of the rock, "Here is a Jew behind me, kill him." Moshe Perlman described how inflammatory rhetoric rooted in canonical Islam, including profuse usage of the Quranic epithet ape for Jews, declared, according to the Sirah by Muhammad himself, before he slaughtered the surrendered males of the Medinan Jewish tribe Banu Qurayza, and the notion Jews had breached the Quranic Dhimma Pact of submission through their cunning, precipitated the mass slaughter and destruction of the Jewish community in Grenada during a 1066 pogrom by rampaging Muslims. It is estimated that 4,000 Jews perished, annihilating the entire community and making it the largest anti-Jewish pogrom till then in European history. Today, the grotesque myth of Islamic tolerance of Jews, in particular, persists even as we are in the midst of a global pandemic of Muslim anti-Semitism and anti-Jewish violence. This violent hatred is driven by the same unreformed and unrepentant canonical Islamic themes Perlman described in the 1940s, which date to the advent of Islam, as promulgated now by Islam's most authoritative religious teaching institutions, Sunni and Shiite alike. Analyses from the Anti-Defamation League, published between 2014 to November 21st, 2019, so just this past November, which determined the prevalence, the occurrence of extreme anti-Semitism, that is, agreement with at least 6 out of 11 anti-Semitic stereotypes, have demonstrated all the following. The 16 most anti-Semitic countries in the world are all in the Muslim Middle East, where extreme anti-Semitism has a 74 to 93% prevalence. Extreme anti-Semitism is 50 to 55% prevalent among Western European Muslims, i.e., approximately threefold the rate of Western European Christians or non-Muslims overall. Extreme anti-Semitism in the U.S., a much more philo-Semitic country, has a 34% prevalence amongst Muslims, 2.4-fold the 14% rate in non-Muslims. This excess of Muslim Jew hatred is accompanied not only by endless jihad violence against Israeli Jews, so 450 to 500 thwarted attacks per year in 2018 and 2019, additionally thousands of rocket barrages, but 3 to 10-fold increased rates of anti-Jewish violence or violent threats against Western European Jews by Muslims relative to violence from the left or right, and 23 Muslim jihadist attacks against American Jews since 9/11, 16 of which were thwarted, thankfully, but 7 that were completed, resulting in 8 deaths and 8 serious injuries, the most recent being Muslim convert Grafton Thomas's attack on a Monsey, New York synagogue, December 28, 2019, during a Hanukkah candlelighting ceremony. Current Al-Azhar University Grand Imam and Sunni Muslim papal equivalent, Ahmed Al-Tayeb, during an October 2013 interview, reaffirmed authoritatively the canonical Islamic animus which fuels the global orgy of Muslim Jew hatred and violence. Riveting on Quran 582, Al-Tayeb stated brazenly, "A verse in the Quran explains the Muslims' relations with the Jews. See how we suffer today from global Zionism and Judaism." He equates them. "Since the inception of Islam 1400 years ago, we have been suffering from Jewish and Zionist interference." He equates them in Muslim affairs. The Quran, Quran 582, said it, and history has proven it. You shall find the strongest among men in enmity to the believers to be the Jews. 850 years ago, Maimonides stated with the understandable resignation of a subjugated Jewish dhimmi in Islamdom the following: "We have done as our sages of blessed memory instructed us, bearing the lies and absurdities of Ishmael. We listen, but remain silent. In spite of all this, we are not spared from the ferocity of their wickedness and their outbursts at any time. On the contrary, the more we suffer and choose to conciliate them, the more they choose to act belligerently toward us. It is unconscionable that today, due to sheer cowardice, Jewish and Christian leadership refuses to condemn the canonical Islamic Jew hatred proclaimed by Grand Imam Al-Tayeb and thousands of lesser Muslim clerics worldwide.
Back in 1935, Albert Einstein denounced anti-Semitism in American academia. The more things change, the more they stay the same. He said, "The hostile attitude of universities towards Jewish teaching staff and students has been increasingly perilously, even though it manifests in a genteel or hypocritical manner. Unfortunately, the current Jewish leaders do not comprehend the seriousness of the situation, similar to the German Jews in the time of Hitler. They believe that they are able to put an end to the problem by being silent and disregarding it, and they thus miss the time for creating places of support." Elites in academia, you're not going to go on a college campus and find a faculty member that's going to say, "I hate Jews, Jews are all these terrible things." They have a language to say these things without openly expressing it. And so they don't openly condemn Jews. They do it in a very subtle way. And so it doesn't look the way that you might expect it would look. Instead, the criticisms manifest themselves as anti-Zionism and in the BDS movement. BDS was inspired by South Africa's anti-apartheid movement. It advocates pressure, techniques, and tactics to force Israel to obey the law. We want everyone to obey the law, right? Okay. BDS emerged from a 2001 conference against racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, and related intolerance that took place in Durban, South Africa. And again, listen, BDS, this boycott movement, emerged from a conference organized against racism. We're all against racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, intolerance, all of these bad things. And the movement is appealing to people because it's framed as social justice. And the church is ignorant. Social justice, the words, it sounds wonderful. Who would be against social justice? The people that embrace it don't understand that it's Marxism, and so they embrace it. And so that's one of the reasons that it has been attractive to people, because it sounds good. The fruits of the movement has been a dramatic increase in anti-Semitic attacks. There's an organization that was founded in 2015. It has a tracker, the Anti-Semitic Tracker, founded by two University of California professors. They have documented more than 3,000 incidents on college and university campuses since 2015, more than 3,000, and it's increasing rapidly. And so that's part of the context. BDS and Students for Justice in Palestine, that was founded in 2000. These organizations are behind a lot of what's taking place on campus. And according to this track of anti-Semitism, it says that the BDS movement demonizes Israel with false charges of crimes against humanity, singles it out for abuse while ignoring the human rights abuses and intolerance against women and ethnic minorities and other religions in the Middle East, cutting off the heads of Christians, boiling them in hot oil, or dropping them in cages in the ocean. That's disregarded. They're focused on Israel as being the abuser. So it's demonic, it's Marxism, it's critical theory. And so under the influence of this kind of hatred and ignorance, widespread ignorance, the same people who condemn Israel and are critical, they are people that they discriminate. They're not speaking out for the Jewish students and faculty and people that are being attacked, but they're criticizing white supremacy. They're all worked up about white supremacy, yet they're doing something that is probably even more widespread than white supremacy. So it is a serious problem, but we can address it, but we have to understand it first.
Well, that's our program for today, and I want you to know we appreciate your support. The time to take a stand is now. Be a leader in your community and in your church. One person can make a difference. Get involved with and support pro-Israel organizations such as PJTN. Call your senators, congressmen. Let your elected leaders hear from you. Visit our website to learn more. Sign up to receive free action alerts and order our films to share with family and friends. Please encourage everyone you know to tune in and become informed. God bless you, and thank you for all you do on behalf of our Jewish brethren in all Israel. We'll see you next time on Focus on Israel.
To support this program, send your tax-deductible gift to Proclaiming Justice to the Nations, P.O. Box 682711, Franklin, Tennessee 37068. You can also support PJTN online. Visit pjtn.org or call 1-877-873-9020.
Anti-Semitism has reached epic proportions, and Israel is now surrounded by nations who seek its destruction. For Israel to lose just one battle would mean losing everything. As Christians, it is our biblical responsibility to stand with our Jewish brethren and Israel. PJTN needs your help to reach more Christians with this urgent message. Please visit our website to become a member today and order our award-winning documentaries. You must decide that you won't be silent. Sign up now at pjtn.org. God bless you, and thank you for your support and prayers.